Hi, I'm Peter Birch. Welcome to today's show, brought to you by Reptile One. And I tell you what, today's show is going to be pretty cool. We're going to be looking at maternal incubation of pythons. Welcome to CrittaCam. Typically, everyone incubates their eggs just like this. I mean, the female will lay the eggs, she coils around the eggs, we typically wind her off the eggs, take her off, and then we put them in an incubator, whether we use the suspended method, which is over water, or whether we use a particle bedding like substrate, like vermiculite or perlite, and we put the eggs in there and we let them cook. Now these beautiful little eggs, the smaller eggs of course, are from a children's python. These were laid 55 days ago. So they're getting pretty damn close to lay, or actually hatching very soon. That's when it gets really exciting for a reptile breeder, because you start to see the results of all the planning you've had for the year. Now this year, I decided to keep the majority of my snakes and let them incubate their own eggs. That's right, incubate their own eggs. That's called maternal incubation. What better way to do it than let nature take its course? I want to show you what the results are right now. Now, the yellow cards in here will indicate that these females here have been mated and they're getting ready to laying eggs, or they have laid eggs. The green dots means they have laid eggs. Red dots means basically that clutch was no good. Whether the female laid slugs or she laid a clutch and the female abandoned the nest and the eggs just basically shriveled up and died. Now for me, some really cool things watching females sitting on eggs, just like this beautiful girl. You can see they coil tightly around their eggs. Can you see that there? They coil tightly around their eggs, and you can see if my hand goes near them, the females become very protective. She's very alert, she knows I'm there, and she doesn't want me to go anywhere near her eggs. Now, what you probably notice also is I try not to annoy them too much. I just leave them alone. From the time they lay the eggs, I just leave them alone and let them do their own thing. And you can see all these females. Here's another female sitting around her eggs, alert. She's got her head up the top there to ward off any attackers or anyone that's going to annoy her. And you can see if we just give her a little poke, she'll stick her head out. But underneath there are these beautiful eggs. Now, one of the things most people are going to be asking is, why is there nothing around the eggs to help them keep moist? Pretty simple, right? Well, you can give them a lay box, which I have done. The females will use the lay boxes, some will not. They'll push the eggs out. Basically, the females are choosing an area they think is appropriate. Now, the coolest thing that I seen when I was watching all these snakes that are laying eggs was the fact that they're laying them in different spots in the cages. Now, when I shot them with a temp gun, there was like 0.3 to 0.4 or even half a degree difference in the temperatures that these girls were choosing. I mean, here's another beautiful girl right here. Look at that. That's a beautiful marble children's. You can see what she's doing there. She's sort of shivering. Well, that's called thermal genesis. She's actually shivering, increasing her body temperature. And look at that. Beautiful clutch of eggs in there. Now, the other cool things that I noticed was that the females would come off the eggs, they would go through the water bowl, they would drink, they would then return to the eggs, and then you could go and put your finger inside her coils and touch the eggs and you could feel the moisture. So she's transferring moisture from the water bowl back to the eggs so they don't completely shrivel up and fail. Now, I know it's a bit of a mouthful, get a little bit carried away. Some other cool things happening over here. Green dots, remember, got eggs. Now, what really blew me away this morning is I came in and I looked in here. Now these are maculosus. Maculosus typically are about 52 to 60 days incubation period. This is what happened. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now this female is a 50% het for albino. She was mated to 100% het albino, which means 1 in 4 of these eggs should have an albino. And there is one, and there's another little head poking out down here. There's two albinos. Now that is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Look at that, mum and her babies. There's a couple of failed eggs there, but that's okay. And look, this substrate is super dry, and those eggs look really bad, but they're hatching, and the babies are super healthy. Now the other cool thing is, this particular clutch is 42 days. 42 days. That's right, we're talking nearly 7 to 10 days earlier incubation by letting mum do it. For me, that's absolutely amazing. Another clutch over here. Now remember the clutch we seen earlier that was in the incubator? Cooking at 55 days? This clutch was laid 10 days later, and 45 days incubation, and here's mum. Now this mother is really protective, and you can see why. There's a little baby down there. There's two more little neonates here. There's another one hatching. She's going to bite me, because that's how protective these guys are. They are maternal, and look, she doesn't want me anywhere near her babies. There's another little one hatching here. Now these guys are T positive albinos hatching. So it's a clutch of T positives and hets, 100% hets. That is gorgeous. Gonna let her go back, take care of her babies. Obviously we can't leave her babies in there. They will escape and probably get lost. So we're going to move them into our little hatchling cages. But I tell you what, by leaving mum with the eggs, I've learnt so much more about these particular beautiful little snakes, the Antaresias, my favourite pythons. I mean, tell you what, I think they're absolutely gorgeous animals. I hope you guys do too. Make sure you hit us up on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And thanks to our good friends over at Reptile One. Just remember, get on board and join the adventure. That's right guys. Thanks for watching CrittaCam.